Good evening. My name is Andrew Cretella, but of course, most of you know me better as Maestro. I wanted to talk a little bit about my sudden reappearance, as well as the direction of my channel going forward. I'll start with definitely the things that are the most important, what most of you are going to care most about, which is right now it is my plan to consistently cast Dawn of War. My plan right now is to do about I want to try at least one cast of Dawn of War a week. Right now I've actually been doing a little bit more than that, but in about a week or two I do expect to get a little bit busy. I am busy and have been busy for much of the last 3-4 years, but I'm going to try to add Dawn of War back into my life anyway. I think using the weekends, one a week is a reasonable pace that I think I can handle. And as some of you have already seen, I have added a new game to the mix, which is that I have added Heroes of the Storm. And although I don't think as many people are interested in that, I am also going to try to do one Heroes of the Storm cast a week. Of course, Dawn of War 2 is a game that I've spent a lot of time with. I would say in the time after I kind of left Dawn of War, Heroes of the Storm, I'm about to spout some heresy here, but Heroes of the Storm actually kind of took over as my favorite game. It is a game that I am very, very passionate about. It had a great esports scene that was sadly canceled by Blizzard Entertainment, and then they also reallocated developers from the game away from it. So the game is definitely kind of in a downward trend. But it does have a small, passionate community that is trying to keep it alive. And in that sense, it does have some similarities to Dawn of War 2. And another thing I'll talk about is, I kind of left. The last time I had cast, I had kind of just left without saying anything right in the middle of trying to cast some Dawn of War 3. And now, personally, I didn't intensely dislike Dawn of War 3 the way I know many, many people did. I think for the time that I spent on it, I actually thought it was decent fun, but certainly I maybe spent about 50 hours on that game and then never touched it again, compared to Dawn of War, where I've spent, Steam says I have about 2.5k hours on it alone, and that doesn't also include any time that I've spent watching casts online on YouTube and such, so quite a big difference. Regardless of what I think, though, it is pretty clear that Dawn of War 3 was just a failure. When it was coming out, I was worried whether it was going to try to be more geared towards Dawn of War 1 fans or Dawn of War 2 fans. In the end, I don't think it really pleased either group, except for probably a small following that it still has. And at this point, I think it's safe to say that the game is just going to kind of fall by the wayside. And I really have no intentions to cover Dawn of War 3 in the future. There are other games that I am interested, though, but I very much enjoy watching the Overwatch League. I can't wait for that to start up again. I just recently started playing Paladins, and I also want to watch the esports scene for that. Right now I don't have any plans to cover those games on my channel, but they're just things that I'm very interested in at the moment, because I've really gotten into esports in general. And in a way, I think it started with Dawn of War 2, where I loved watching the tournaments. And I think if there's any other game that I might have any kind of interest or involvement in, it's also possible that I might be commentating local Smash Brothers events in where I live in California. Although if I do this, it probably won't even go to my YouTube channel. It'll probably just be something where I'll probably be on the live stream for whatever organization is covering that event, and I might just put that out to my Twitter account, which I've actually decided to change my Twitter account over to one that is just my name, so it's going to be @AndrewCretella. Go ahead and follow that. And, if you're still here, there's still a few more things I want to talk about. Something that is a little bit more personal, so for those of you who are still watching, perhaps care a little bit more. And it does also relate a little bit to what has actually brought me back to casting. As some of you may know, when I had first started casting, I was actually in training to become a school teacher. I eventually finished my certification, I achieved that goal, and I eventually indeed did become a teacher. And that's also part of the reason why I had actually left casting. I had left in part because I really just wanted to focus all my energies on my teaching career, just to be the best that I could be at it. Now, given that build-up that I just gave you, can probably predict that there are some things that didn't quite go my way in terms of that teaching career. I'll just go with the thing that's most easily relatable to people who don't know anything about that career in general, which is that from my second year of teaching to my third, my salary was cut by about $24,000 with no change in job responsibilities whatsoever. And they were able to do this, my employer, using the way the law is written to change my designation from being officially contracted as a teacher to being a substitute teacher, even though that's not the job that I actually perform, which allows them to pay me tens of thousands of dollars less than I otherwise would. And I tolerated the situation because, at least for the moment, I don't actually have an alternative. And that was in my third year of teaching. I'm now in my fourth, still teaching, but part of the reason I even bring this up is because at this point I am a little disillusioned with it, and I am considering different directions in my life. Although I haven't completely left teaching, I'm considering different directions. And that's part of what has brought me back to casting. Although casting by itself is not a career, one of the things I am considering is seeing maybe about trying my hand at voiceover work, or trying my voice rather at voiceover work, which in a way is something that I already do with casting. So it's practice. And my first time coming back to a cast, I think the first cast that I did, that 2v2 game I found after I had finished casting, was like, wow, that was fun. Why did I ever stop? So I look forward to continuing with casting, as well as possibly moving forward with a voice acting career. Maybe not. It's even possible I could stick with teaching, because if I do get a contract that will officially recognize me as a teacher again, it would just be the fastest way to some financial security. But other than that, that's about all I have for today. So I hope you have a good night.